Hello and welcome to Demystifying Divinity with Joanna and Jenny. How you doing today, Joanna?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great.
Good.
We are about to do February 2026 updates. Can you believe we're doing this already?
It's like WTF without saying the word.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure the words will come out later in this
Mhm.
podcast, but for now, we're going to start it good and clean.
Yes.
Yeah, wow. February already. And, if you're a fan of the podcast, you may or may not have heard me speaking of February 2026 once or twice in the past or so. Are you recalling that?
Yes, because it kept coming up, and I'll share with you why.
Perfect for you too. I mean,
Mhm.
it's what we've been waiting for. I have been talking about Saturn and Neptune coming together. Saturn, Neptune, 0 degree Aries, February 20th. I've been throwing out that date for so long and it's here. I can't believe it. It's all happening. Not only that, but we've got the Chinese New Year happening on February the 17th and an eclipse on the 17th. That's right. We've got an eclipse and Saturn and Neptune coming up in February. There's lots more and I will go through it quickly, but I have to say there is so much energy happening in February that it deserves its own podcast. I will give a little bit of an update here, but it deserves its own podcast, and I know you'll be on board with that. Yay or nay, Joanna?
Yay. Yay.
Yay. So as we always do, we're going to go through all 12 zodiac signs. I'm going to start with the astrology for each sign. Joanna's going to do her reading, but first I will give you like a touch of an update about what's happening here in February. I won't go on and on and on, but February is a threshold month.
I want that word.
No,
Yes. Yes, I did. Look. Yes, threshold right there.
Yes, you did it.
You did. Yeah. And who you and I haven't talked, obviously, about this.
Oh,
Yeah. Thank you, Universe.
how we're going to start.
Because that's a confirmation for me because I'm a human being. I need confirmation. So thank you for doing that.
Wow.
Yes, it's a threshold.
It is a threshold month, February 2026. If you got here, if you made it, we've been waiting for this. I'm super excited. Is it a lot of energy to sit with, to carry, to hold? Yes, it is. Is the need for regulation of the nervous system in order? Yes, it is. Okay, I'll keep going. Not only is Uranus stationing direct, okay, we've got an Aquarius eclipse. That's right, an Aquarius eclipse. So because the nodes are changing this year, they've been in Pisces, Virgo. We've been talking about that a lot on the podcast as well. But the nodes are changing into Aquarius, Leo. And although the nodes haven't officially changed yet, this first eclipse in February is an Aquarius eclipse. So wow, we're going to get a little taste of what the next round of eclipses are going to be like. But most of all, folks, that Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degree Aries, I keep calling 0 degree Aries. It is the beginning of the whole darn zodiac. That's that beginning degree. It's the creator degree. It's that innocent degree. It's the newborn baby degree. And we're all being offered that return to innocence. We've been talking about that on the podcast. It's the split. It's the new earth, whatever the heck you want to call it, that return to innocence. The creator is born. A new spiritual leader is born. We're going to see a lot of spiritual leaders being born. You and I are going to be stepping in. I'm sure once this conjunction hits, our podcasts are going to be next level. I can just feel it happening. That's what Neptune and Saturn coming together literally translates to as well. I've always been saying it's dream reality. Neptune is dream, reality is Saturn, but spirituality is Neptune and Aries is the leader. So new spiritual leaders is on the way. Of course, we always have a full moon every month. That's going to be in Leo. We've got Uranus stationing direct in Taurus on February 3rd. Mercury and Venus are going to be going into Pisces. Like all this stuff already that I'm saying is big, let alone the other stuff I was talking about. Mercury is going to be conjunct the node on February 12th. Saturn enters Aries February 13th. So right before the romantic day It's going to be new energy with Saturn going into it. We're getting serious when Saturn enters Aries. It's like no more victim stories, no more dilly-dallying around, okay? No more complaining about husbands and complaining about your job, and no more. It's going to be a totally new energy, and it's going to be like, now, what are you going to do about it?
Did you say the 14th or 13th?
That's the 13th.
Okay.
That Saturn enters Aries.
Okay. That makes sense.
New moon solar eclipse in Aquarius on Feb 17, which is also the day that the fire horse starts in the Chinese zodiac. Also, Venus is conjunct the node on Feb 17. So that's like, what? What? This is all happening on Feb 17? And, well, sure, the sun goes into Pisces on Feb 18, the day after. But that Feb 20 date. So all those things happen on the 17th. One thing happened on the 18th. And then Feb 20, it's here, that signature that I've been going on and on and on and on about, that 0-degree Aries mark. It's going to be new energy that I know you're going to be, you're already probably feeling it, Joanna. Oh, also Mercury is going retrograde in February. I mean, like, it just goes on. What's going on? So I went through a lot. I talked a lot, blah, 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 a lot of astrology talk. Sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry, but it's just, I'm just trying to set the stage for the extreme energy happening in February. Maybe you just want to say a little quick thing before I go on about the astrology and how I'm going to encourage you to listen for your rising sign. I'm going to give you that little ditty there. But Joanna, you want to say something about February, don't you?
Well, because I tuned in, and I like to always tune in and get just kind of an energetic update for the collective. So what was interesting is that the year 1996 was shown to me, and I knew what that meant. I had to do some digging. So after doing some digging, year 1996 is thought of as a year of collapse and transformation. So how it felt to me is that February, especially mid-month and after, is a brand new energy, like you just said, and it's an energy of a threshold where the entire energy field opens up. So it felt to me like up until first part of February, mid part, which is coinciding with what you're saying, we're still in the energy of restoration and regeneration. And once we come somewhere halfway through the middle of the month, it's like the energy just opens up. And what I'm hearing is, whatever that is, this is what we have been preparing for. And this can mean many things, but up until this time, we have been collapsing old structures, right? And as the month of February comes forward, especially after the first half, it's an energy of newness, regeneration, and recalibration. So old systems must go in order for new systems to come in. And we've already been seeing there's so much collapse happening, not only on global level, but also in each person. We're collapsing old stories. So to your point, if I'll use myself as an example, if I have been holding on to a victim story, which I have many years, the new energy represents the ability to finally let it go. And sometimes we hold because we like holding on to stories because they're familiar, yada, yada, yada. But ultimately, these stories continue keeping us in a victim state, right? And when someone is in a victim state, they're not in their power state. So it feels like the energy, the opening up energy is being able and energetically capable of embodying this higher frequency. We talked about the nervous system quite a lot, how we need to prepare our bodies. When I hear this is what we've been preparing for, it's this. It's how to now hold the higher frequency, and ultimately, what does that all mean to us in our worlds, right? It was also shown to me as beginning of the end of the darkness. So it's not the end of the darkness, it's beginning of the end of the darkness in favor of light and harmony, so new growth. Some people may actually feel more relaxed despite what's going on in the world, which tells me one thing and one thing only. If you're able to feel more relaxed being in the body, despite what's going on, you have done considerable amount of work on your nervous system. You obviously have done some work. And because you've done some work, you're now able to put forth new systems, new ideas, new technologies. So talking collectively, it's, again, all about the newness. Okay. And then I wrote, it's a month of a threshold, which you beautifully stated. Then I was guided to use cards that are literally about thresholds. So we're going to take it a little bit esoteric today. So that's what I have for you. And the energy of the Fool, which is a brand new beginning, but not quite with direction just yet. It's freshness.
Fool is 0.
Yes.
0, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
Aries, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Well, speaking of collapses, I won't get into this. This is just a little teaser of the February energy that we will do later because it deserves. Speaking of collapses, the Saturn rules governments and structures, right? Last time there was a Saturn-Neptune conjunction, it was in Capricorn. That was between 1989 and 1990, and the Berlin Wall fell.
Okay.
There's a lot to be said about what happens in the world when Saturn and Neptune. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back. So we will talk about that because that's what astrology is, by the way. It is pattern recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And so we as astrologers haven't seen this, Saturn and Neptune coming together at the 0-degree Aries mark. It has not, well, maybe it has, but it's not in anyone's
recorded.
software. It's not in any history books. So it does suggest this is going to be a new paradigm that we've been working so hard to get here for. So to say that February 2026 is a big one.
You know what I just got when you said that there is no recorded history? What came to me, and this could be just as a metaphor, the idea around Atlantis.
Yeah.
And the demise of Atlantis. So if you believe it or don't believe it, I mean, I don't know. I'm open to it. But that was given to me as, again, a threshold, right? Yeah. Okay.
So much to say, but we know you come here for the all 12 signs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm just going to give you the blurb. Okay, listen for rising sign. Okay, rising sign is what you would listen to first, in my opinion, because the rising sign is going to tell you the area of life that it is impacting you. So if the rising sign is your first house, then you count. Your second house will be this. Your third house will be that. So you'll know the area of life, and I'm using whole sign astrology when you use rising sign predictions that way. You listen for your sun sign as well. Maybe it resonates more for you. Sometimes it does. Sometimes the sun sign resonates more than the rising sign because the sun sign does represent your soul in this lifetime. It's your soul's journey. It's your hero's journey. And it also definitely represents your outward life. So your career, the way people see you, you're walking around, sharing your light with the world. So definitely listen for your sun. And then your moon sign, I always listen to as well, because this talks about your emotional wellness, your emotional intelligence, your feelings, how you're going to feel this energy every 2026. And Joanna always likes to say, listen for the North Node. And I love that you're listening to me.
Yes.
Taurus sees the North Node.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's so true. You're finishing up your nodal return, Joanna. So we should actually do a podcast on that.
Yeah, what I was just got, if I can very quickly, the North Node. I love to close the North Road. That's right. The North Node may often represent moments of challenges because that's us stepping into the new and letting go of the old. Does that make sense? What I'm receiving from the astrological perspective?
Is new. It's unfamiliar territory. The South Node is your comfort zone. If you stay there, if you stay in the South Node, I'm not saying that you didn't understand the assignment of your life, but I'm just saying you're staying in a comfort zone. If you stay in South Node energy, doesn't make you mad.
No,
but that North Node is very unfamiliar, and we don't know it, but we signed up for it. We definitely signed up for North Node. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Joanna.
Shall we?
Are we ready, Aries?
Ready. Point.
Aries, it's happening. Aries, hold on. Aries, we were born for this because, yes, I am an Aries woman. And if you're an Aries and you're worried, please Please release the worry, surrender to the worry. Just say, you know what? I'm here. I was born under Aries. And if you've got strong, I've got 3 in Aries. Like, oh yeah, this is why we're here, Aries. We are the warriors. We are the leaders. We can do this. Here's my note, Aries. For you, Aries, February is a destiny month. You are standing in the doorway of a new life, and you can feel the pressure of that in your body. Go back to Joanna's point about the nervous system reset. You know, we've been working on it, Aries, and I encourage you to do so all of February. Okay, let's talk about the eclipse. There's a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius. This is going to be in your 11th house, Aries. This eclipse blasts over your 11th house. Okay, this is of your future, community, long-term dreams, friends. So you may feel a strong tug away from the old friends or the groups or the communities that are no longer matching your alignment. You are no longer aligned with them. A magnetism toward people who feel like the future, your soul people, okay? Collaborations and networks that actually acknowledge and see your genius. An urge to pivot your long-term plans. So you might be saying to yourself, the future I was aiming at doesn't fit me anymore. This can bring sudden endings or beginnings in friendships, an abrupt end to an old dream, and a seed of a brand new one. Invitations or opportunities to step into visibility with aligned communities. Oh, she's having a giggle. I can't wait to hear what it is. Okay, and then of course there's that whole Saturn-Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. This is the creator degree. This is your first house. This is in your sign. You are one of the main characters of this transit. In your first house of identity and your path, it's going to feel like a soft but undeniable pressure to grow up into the new version of yourself. Put on those big girl panties. I know you can do this. The dissolving of old masks and personas and roles, especially the ones that were about performance rather than authenticity. It's like I'm quoting Joanna the healer right now. A deep question to ask yourself, Aries, who am I if I stop living the stories that others expect of me? This conjunction will ask you to commit to a new level of self and back it up with actions. So again, like it's not just all talk anymore. It's about doing something about it. Shining your light and being the leader. So fuse your spiritual calling, which is Neptune, with the real world responsibility, which is Saturn. Okay, mark the beginning of a 20+ year era. That's going to mark your courage and your leadership. All of that is required from you. And if anyone can do it, it's you, Aries. Okay, so how to navigate this huge energy of February, Aries? Let friendships and communities shift. Let it happen. Shift happen. Don't cling to groups you've outgrown just because they're familiar. And choose one version of a new you and build a real structure around that new you. Ask yourself often, is this choice aligned with the future that I'm here to create? Pretty big for Aries, won't you say, Joanna?
I'm just saying to myself, why do I bother? You basically said everything that I have written on floor, except in a different way. So maybe it'll just land differently for people. So what I'm tapping into, so I did have a card. The card says higher card activation, dropping shields, divine love, your heart is healed. So this is just a visual that I'm going to show you. And then things were starting to come through. So first and foremost, many of you, Jenny included, I guess, will be or already are at some sort of crossroads. And it's a shift of a trajectory. You are or will be soon moving beyond your comfort zone. A little bit scary. It is an extremely potent time for releasing old, unspoken of trauma, especially around the fear of existence itself. That's a big one because that's foundational. March and April seem to be significant months for you if you're Aries. But I know you talked about something about April, so I know there is something there. Bringing more light into your body, and the message is brace yourself. So I said, why? Because it may feel a little bit uncomfortable. And what came up was this fear around safety and especially shame and guilt. So if there is some unspoken of trauma that include shame and guilt, it's likely, it's likely to come up for you if you're an Aries. It's not to punish you. It's to help you release and relieve yourself of it so that it no longer keeps you stuck. Because guilt sometimes is appropriate. It's what we do with guilt. If we keep being stuck in guilt, I mean, if you've done something wrong and you have remorse, you've forgiven yourself, you've forgiven the other person, then what you had was a proper response, but then you can move on, you learn from it. If you hold on to guilt and shame, it just keeps you stuck. So if you're holding, and most people have shame and guilt, that's just beautifully programmed into our societal fabric. If that comes up to you, for you in some way, just honor the process. So when they said you're bringing more light into the body, higher frequency cannot live in the same container as a lower frequency because it does zzz. So in order for us to embody this higher frequency, we have to release the density. So if something comes up for you in the March, April, February, just allow the process to do its thing. You essentially are moving through very old, often ancestral energy, and it's also energy around betrayal. So if some of these things come up for you, it doesn't mean you're going to get betrayed, but you might get triggered and some old wound around betrayal, which is always about safety, security, and trust, may come up for you, especially because you seem to be shifting your trajectory. Is that true for you, Jenny?
Actually, it just happened to me. Was it 2 days ago? Was it yesterday? An old thing I hadn't even thought about. And so I just honored it. I was like, okay, I'm going to stop dead in my tracks and I'm just going to honor this thing I haven't even thought about for 30 years or whatever.
That's it. Right there. Full on chills.
I was like, okay, this thing. Yep, move on out.
Exactly. Yeah. The best way to do it is what Jenny said. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to understand it. Don't try to literally just be present with it and just be present with it and allow it to move through you. Yeah. That's how you move energy. Yeah.
Well, it's so validating for me too, because I was like, okay, this thing, that experience, that memory,
And because this month is very, very good for shifting old frequency, when it comes up, it's like, on one hand, it's like, "Wah," but on the other hand, it's like, okay, yay, bring it on.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's
awesome one. Taurus. Okay, for you, Taurus, February shakes the foundations so you can build a truer life.
Again? I just heard this time.
Story.
I just heard this time it'll be quieter. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so the eclipse, first of all, let's talk about it. It's a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, which is your 10th house. This is going to activate your career, your public image, life direction, title change, any titles. Assistant to CEO, to Mrs., or the other way. You may feel restless in your current work or role, even if it looks successful on paper. A sense that your old career storyline has run its course. A sudden, almost faded opening toward a new path, a different title, industry, or mission. This can bring sudden changes at work, leadership shifts, restructures, exits, or promotions. A drastic turning point in how you are seen by the world. A nudge or shove to align your outer work with your inner truth. So that's the eclipse, okay, Taurus? That's no big whoop, right? Just up in the 10th house, the very top house that everyone can see. You can't hide anything in the 10th house. That's who you are to the world. Okay, let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune 0-degree Aries in your 12th house, Taurus. So this is the 12th house of unconscious spirituality, endings. The energy moves behind the scenes. So although the eclipse is happening top of the chart for everyone to see, this Saturn-Neptune conjunction is the behind the scenes energy. So it might feel like old karmic stories are rising from the depths. Fears and habits and addictions or grief that you can't bypass anymore. A deep spiritual seriousness. So you might be saying to yourself, I have to deal with this now. I can't keep carrying this weight. So there might feel like a pressure to create boundaries with energy drains. People, any energy vampires in your life, whether it's a person or work or something. Hidden self-sabotage, any kind of self-betrayal, and repeating emotional patterns that are no longer serving you. So this conjunction is going to ask you to spiritually mature, to put structure around your healing and not just talk about it. Again, it's going to be a similar message for everyone. Like it's time to start doing something about it. Dissolve illusions you've carried about being the one who always had to hold everything together. Invite you to a new chapter of inner freedom if you're willing to do the behind the scenes work. So how to navigate this energy of February, Taurus, okay? Let career shifts be a mirror for you. So what is your soul actually ready to do now? Ask yourself. Take your spiritual and psychological health as a serious and take a new job if it presents itself. Make space for solitude, therapy, spiritual practice, and rest. Your next visible chapter depends on it. What do you think, Joanna? What do you think for Taurus?
So 2 cards actually popped up. So I'll share with you the card and then what came through. The first card says karmic bond clearing, which we already understand. Energetic clearing, rewriting your story, living your truth. I'm going to just share that with you visual. And the second message is star gathering, meaning stars are aligned, remembering home, soul, family. So what I do is I tune into the visual and then things start to come through. So if you're a Taurus like myself, it's not that you likely have many talents. I know that you have many, many talents, many more than you think you do or give yourself credit for. However, and this is, okay, they're saying to me it's already happening in January, and we are recording this towards the end of January. For some of you Taurians, these talents are going to start being more visible to you. And the reason why they were not visible to you before is because these talents carry a lot of power. So if you're not in a position to handle this power safely, then you might have let these powers go to your head. So you are in the process of showing off of more of your talents, which may include what you were saying, maybe a new job, maybe transitioning into a new job. And you finally, the word is finally, moving beyond your story. So whatever your story is that has been holding you back. I don't feel safe. I can't be myself. If I'm truly myself, people are going to reject me. If I truly show my power, I'm going to be judged that I am all of that, which I'm not. I mean, I have many of these stories. So this is a month when you're finally moving beyond your story. And it's an energy of just openness. And whenever I feel this energy, that energy of openness at first can feel a little bit intimidating. Because if we used to functioning from this space, from a very limited space, and then all of a sudden we do this, our nervous system goes, that's new. Is it safe? Is it safe? Right? So if you're a Taurus, you are very likely moving to an area, to a space where you are becoming more and more comfortable being true to yourself and being truly yourself. And you're realizing that not only is it safe, it's also extraordinarily powerful and empowering to others. I'm getting chills as I say all that. Something is waiting for you, but you can't see what it is yet. So if you're a Taurus, you might have a feeling that there's something there. I just can't see it. You're not supposed to see it yet. When you're ready to quote unquote see it, it'll be shown to you. But I can tell there is something waiting for you there, and it's just this openness, and it's whatever this is. It's tied to your fuller expression. So I quote unquote do what I do. I mean, I do that today. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Maybe I'll have an awakening again, and another layer will be opened up to me. I don't know, right? So if you think that you don't have talents, that's not true. You have far more than you think you do, but some of these talents were not available to you precisely because of what I said at the beginning. Your ego would not be able to handle this, which means in order for you to now fully express these talents, you must have done some work on your ego. That's just the way it is, right? So a very powerful month for Taurus, looks like, for everyone, but if you're a Taurus, that's it.
Okay. Gemini. For you, Gemini, February is about rewriting your story of what is possible. So let's talk about the eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius will be in your 9th house. So this eclipse activates your 9th house of beliefs, travel, higher learning, and publishing. So you may feel a strong pull to change what you believe about life, God, politics, your path, everything. Restlessness with staying small or local. So there might be a hunger to expand, travel, study, maybe teach. An urge to either break away from a belief system or commit to a new one that is more aligned with you. So this can bring opportunities to study, teach, speak, publish, or move abroad. A crisis of faith might be the best thing that ever happened to you because it could lead to more authenticity. Sudden decisions about school, certifications, or big moves might happen for you. And now let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune 0-degree Aries conjunction. That's going to be in your 11th house. So this is about friends, networks, long-term dreams, the future. Okay, this conjunction shapes your future and your people. So it might feel like a reckoning with your social world. So which communities truly match your values and which don't? There might be a deep question lingering within, what future am I actually building and who am I building it with? There might be a need to commit to one or two big visions rather than scattering your energy in 100 different directions. So this conjunction is going to ask you to take responsibility for your dreams, okay? To ground your dreams into timelines. Have some plans, have some goals, and some real collaborations with, soul-aligned people. Dissolve fantasy friendships. Keep the soul-aligned ones. And mark the start of a long era where your role in the collective truly matters. You belong here, Gemini, okay? How to navigate all of this in February, Gemini. Be willing to walk away from beliefs, from institutions or ideologies that feel like cages. Choose one future vision that feels both magical and buildable. This is the start of making it real. Invest in communities that feel like your future, not your past. What do you feel for Gemini, Joanna?
Interestingly enough, I kept shuffling the cards and the same card popped up that it did for Taurus. So I'm going to show it to you. So that's interesting. Karmic board clearing. So you're clearing up karmic bonds. Energetic clearing, rewriting your story, which is, I believe, what you said. Live your truth. So a few things came up. If you're a Gemini, you're likely going to start paying more attention to the simple things in life. Like really tasting a good cup of coffee, for example. And what that means to me is that in order to like really taste, you know how sometimes we eat and we just eat mindlessly because we're not in our bodies, we're not present. You are more embodied, which means that you are more present. There's a lot more self-trust in your own self-worth. So you are trusting more of your self-worth. Higher coherence, and it's also a month of energetic purging. So I kind of tuned in, what does that mean? Again, old stories, old beliefs, something like what Jenny was saying at the beginning. If some old story pops into your mind or a memory that you haven't remembered for 30 years, it's not because you are needing to relive the story, is you are needing to purge out the energy. Very similar message. And remember what we were saying at the beginning, the first part of February is really good for purging and clearing to set the stage for what's coming after the middle of after the middle of February. So again, karmic bond clearing, that's pretty self-explanatory. You are basically no longer choosing to live your life according to the old rules. And I think you mentioned something very similar to that, right? And if that means letting go of people, situations, yes. But I think that's for everybody. But if you're a Gemini, that's likely going. That's what cutting cords means. You are releasing yourself from karma of your past, which means you're not repeating the same patterns over and over again. So if something is not serving you and you are recognizing this is not serving me, this month is going to make it easier for you to let it go. It won't be easy per se, but it will make it much easier. So if you've tried and it's been really difficult, it feels like this energy is going to help you to just finally go, I just got to bite the bullet. Yeah. So that's what I have for Geminis.
We're only 3 in, Joanna, and they're all so powerful. Are you noticing that?
Mm-hmm. It's big energies. Yeah. Yeah.
Cancer. For you, Cancer, February is about power, vulnerability, and your true calling in this world. No big whoop. So the eclipse is a new moon solar eclipse, and it's in Aquarius in your 8th house. So this eclipse lights up your 8th house of shared resources, think taxes, mortgages, and all that jazz, intimacy, and psychological depth. So you might feel intensely emotional, raw, and aware of where you've been over-giving or over-merging. You might feel pulled into conversations about money, debt, inheritance, energetic entanglements, even. I need to face fears around loss, dependence, or control. So this can bring shifts in joint finances, investments, mortgages, partner's income, maybe. A turning point in therapy, trauma healing, or intimate relationships. The end of a deeply enmeshed situation, or the beginning of a more honest and sacred bond. Let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0° Aries. This is going to be happening in your 10th house. This is your career. This is your title. This is how people see you, your public image. So your 10th house of career, status, and life direction. This is the creator degree, and it's asking you to step into a new level of authority. Step up like the boss energy. It might feel like a pressure to choose a direction instead of drifting or postponing big decisions. A mix of inspiration and responsibility around your calling. So you might be saying to yourself, I'm meant for more, but I have to show up for it. There might be an inner voice saying, it's time to build the life that I've dreamed of when no one was watching. This conjunction is going to ask you to fuse your soul's calling with real world structure. Test any career path built on obligation rather than authentic purpose. And it's also going to ask you to mark the beginning of a long chapter of visible growth and accountability. People are going to see it, Cancers. So how to navigate this energy coming to us here in February? Be honest about where you feel energetically or financially overbound. Allow endings in entangled situations so you can step into your own authority and choose a direction in your public life that feels spiritually true, not just socially approved. Okay, what do you think for Cancers, Joanna?
So, okay, the card is called Sword of Light. I'm just going to show it to you. To me, it almost represents like the Ace of Swords, which is a new level of consciousness. If you believe in things like archangels, you might want to ask Archangel Michael to help you cut some cords, because it's also about cord cutting, and it's a breakthrough energy. Okay, so that's the message. And then what came through me was that for many of you, I hope it's for all of you, the universe, the field is going to present you with a gift. I don't know what the gift is. It might actually be a physical gift, or it might be a gift in terms of a situation. So I would almost, if you're Cancer, I would almost say expect there to be a gift for you at some point between, whenever you're listening to this and let's say end of February. I'm actually seeing March. So expect a gift. No more save me energy. So if you know of someone who is also Cancer and they are about, I'm just needing someone to save me, you can only save yourself. Now, we're not talking about you being caught in some kind of a situation. I'm not talking about that. It's just, the idea is no one can save you from yourself. And it sounds like you're moving away from feeling like you need to be saved to now taking more charge, not even control, but now taking more charge. I think it's something you said to that effect as well, right? Yeah. Also, you might have some fluctuations in your moods. They didn't say why. It's just you might have some fluctuations. One day you might be really, really high, and the next day you might be really, really low. And you might actually go, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you, just going through a fluctuation of different frequencies. And you are also consciously choosing to reduce your stress, but not being so scattered. So if you are someone who is a highly functioning, what do you call that? Highly functioning stressaholic, and you need stress in your life and you're so busy, you don't have 10 minutes for yourself. You might want to ask yourself the question, is this busyness really me trying to not look at myself? Not from a space of judgments, but we always do it for, because we have our reasons for it. And I feel like you're looking under the hood of the car, if you will, and you're kind of going, okay, I think I need to see this. Another message is speak your truth, yes, but more importantly, live your truth. So you can talk about your truth all day long. Do you live it? So it's no longer about talking. It's now about embodying. It's now about living your truth. Does that make sense?
That's what that conjunction's asking all of us to do.
Okay.
Stop just talking about, well, one day I'm going to do this, or this is my big belief about this thing. Okay, we'll go do it then.
Do you live it? Yeah. Do you live it? Yeah. All right.
Leo, for you, Leos, February is a relationship fate and spiritual expansion month. Woof. So let's talk about the eclipse first. The new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius is happening in your 7th. Okay, so this is all about your relationships, your partnerships, your marriage, your key contract people. So your closest people too, like your bestest, closest friends and stuff. You might feel like a turning point in one or more major relationships. An urgency to define or redefine where a partnership is going. Faded meetings or endings. So people come in or people leave with a sense of, well, that was meant to happen. So this can bring new significant relationships. So romantic, definitely. Business, yes. Client-based, yes, all of it. Upgrades or reality checks in existing partnerships. Maybe you need to propose. You've been going out for years, like that kind of thing. Commitments or separating. It's finally time to break up, renegotiations, maybe. This is a sense that your relationship style itself is changing. So that's what the eclipse is bringing for you, Leo. Now let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune at 0° Aries. This is going to be happening in your 9th house. This is your belief, your spirituality, your travel, higher learning. This conjunction wants you to build a life that matches your philosophy. So it might feel like deep questioning of what is true for you now. Spiritually, politically, everything, ethically, all the leads. A push to align your world view with your everyday choices. And it might feel like a serious call to study, to teach, to travel, or to share your wisdom. This conjunction, it's going to ask you to put structures around your big ideas. So write the course, write the book, teach the thing, have some spiritual leadership. Dissolve limiting beliefs about what you're allowed to seek and what you're allowed to know. Initiate long phases where your wisdom becomes a part of your legacy. So how to navigate this energy, Leo? Don't resist relationship truth anymore. If a connection is ready to evolve, or if it is ready to end, let it. Say yes to education, travel, or teaching opportunities that align with your soul, and build a life that embodies your beliefs, not just one that sounds good in theory. So that's some reality checks for Leo. What do you think, Joanna?
Well, it's okay. So the card is called the House of Amenti Initiation, Secrets Revealed, Treasures Uncovered Initiation. So I'm just going to show you this. And this is what came through when I tuned in. You're no longer seeing things as black and white anymore. Majority of time, it's all in the gray, right? There's very few things that are black and white. Some are, majority aren't. And, you know, sometimes when we live in the extremes, it's kind of safer, right? When we move into the gray area, we're not quite sure where we stand. So it feels to me like if you're a Leo, your entire energetic system it feels like it's being recalibrated to the point where what you think, how you see things, and how you go about things begins to shift to some new way. And just like with every other sign, that will likely make you feel a little bit uncomfortable because you're not used to operating in that way. You like to have everything under control, right? So it's not about releasing control completely. It's about letting go of at least some of the control, right? Control always leads to one thing, the fear of not having safety. So you are not seeing things as black and white anymore, which also tells me it's a shift of perspective. You are no longer sitting on the sidelines. So if you're someone who kind of just sits on the sideline and doesn't really say anything, I feel like the universe is going to give you sometimes a little poke and sometimes not so little for you to step up. Because it's time for you to step up, whatever that means in your individual life. You also begin to realize your own importance, but it's not the, oh, look at me. It's more the, I now truly see me. It's a very different energy. A lot of strong foundation, and it feels like you're actually being prepared to move through a big threshold. And this threshold represents a totally new existence, one of much more stability and higher awareness. So you're not quite there yet, but it feels like February is preparing you for stepping into that, through that new threshold. I think you said something similar, right? So it almost feels like it's a preparatory month. Yeah, so that's what I have for you, Leos. Now, when I say these things, because they're just coming through my head and through my mind, and I don't even know half to that what I'm saying. Does it make sense? Does it? Okay, because when I listen to it, I go, oh, that actually makes sense. But when I'm actually saying it, I have no idea.
When you say it, yeah. You're like listening to what I'm saying, and then it's like, boom, okay, clear slate. Now I'm going to say this thing.
It does. Thank you.
Virgo. February is going to be a deep reset.
Working.
Heal and share your energy. So let's talk about this eclipse. It's a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, and that's going to be in your 6th house. Okay, this is about your work, what you do every single day, your habit, your health, daily routine. So you may feel suddenly done with a job, a schedule, a way of working, because you know that it drains you. You might feel hyper aware of how your habits are impacting your body and your nervous system. You might feel drawn toward a different style of service or healing. So this can bring job changes, shifts in your duties, your habit, work projects, and it's going to change up your days, how you spend your everyday. Your health wake-up calls might happen, and it's going to push you toward taking better care of yourself. You might feel a strong desire to align your service with your values and your well-being. Now let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 Aries. This is going to be in your 8th house. Okay, this is your 8th house of shared resources, intimacy, shadow work, all that stuff. So it might feel like old fears and deep emotional patterns are resurfacing for you in order to integrate and embody the lesson. Might feel like a need to take responsibility for your side of the street when it comes to intimacy or financial entanglements. Might feel a strong pull toward therapy, trauma healing, spiritual-based shadow work. This conjunction is going to ask you to put containers and boundaries around your emotions, your sexuality, and your financial mergings. This might dissolve fantasies about being the fixer or the martyr in your deep bonds. And this might initiate a long phase of reclaiming your power from old wounds. So how are we going to navigate this energy, Virgo? Let your work and health routines be completely restructured if need be. You're not meant to grind yourself into the ground, okay? Try to remember that. Lean into real healing. So if that's therapy, if that's somatic work, deep spiritual practice, and choose conscious boundaried intimacy over enmeshment or secrecy. So that's some pretty big lessons and messages for Virgo. What are you getting for them, Joanna?
Well, just like for the other signs, it feels to be a month of recalibration and regeneration. So the card that came up is called Central Sun, Abundant Downloads, Regeneration, Success. Okay, so that's, and then once I tuned in, this is what came through. Because it's a month of regeneration and recalibration, it doesn't automatically mean that in month of February, things are going to be new. It simply means that you are going through a process of an energetic recalibration that's happening first in your energetic field. So it may not be visible what that means to you in the physical world until sometimes later, because recalibration happens on an energetic field, and it's more often than not pre-conscious or pre-verbal. And the mind needs time to catch up with what's happening. So the recalibration takes place way before your mind can even assess what's happening or make sense of it. So if it doesn't make sense to you in February, it doesn't mean that it's not happening in February. It just means it's happening sub-perceptually. Okay? So that's what I want to say. Comfort with your own uniqueness. You're starting to feel, or will start to see, much more comfortable with respect to your uniqueness. And what that means in a 3D world is you become much more comfortable with offering yourself as you are, just as you are, knowing that just as you are is complete. You're someone who is complete. It doesn't mean you can't learn more. It doesn't mean you can't have more. But just as you are right now, underneath of all what you tell yourself, you are complete. And when you embody that state of completeness, you all of a sudden settle more into your body. When you're more settled, you're far less in resistance. When you're less in resistance, you open up to the field. So the field can match you with the energy that you are radiating. So when I look at the word success, I literally want to say to every single one of you, if you're a Virgo, expect success. Here's the thing. Success may not come to you in the package that you're expecting. It might actually come in a different package. Also, make sure you ask yourself, what does success mean to me? If success to you means a lot of money, as an example, but you have a lot of fears around money, you're going to hold yourself back from that success. But this month, because of this regenerative energy, your ability to let go of fear-based programming is quite high. So if you're holding on to some old, outdated stories, in February, it's good to look at it and just to not just acknowledge it, but just be present with what is. It's not that you're not worthy of having more, it's that you have learned to hold yourself back for whatever reason. And you are stepping beyond those reasons. You're stepping beyond those reasons. So I see dollar signs everywhere, which to me symbolizes obviously financial abundance. Am I saying that every single person all of a sudden is going to be a millionaire? No, but the energy is saying opportunities are abound. Are you going to make yourself available to them? And I think you were saying something similar. Yes, right? Yes. Also, the symbol of the beetle is, for me, a very ancient Egyptian symbol of transformation and transmutation. So, yes, that's it.
Success.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Libra. Okay, for you, Libra, February is a turning point for love, joy, and partnership template. Ooh, let's talk about the eclipse first. So the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius is happening in your 5th house, Libra. So this falls in your 5th house of romance, creativity, children, joy, fun, play, pleasure. Okay. So you may feel intensely pulled toward a creative project or a love story that feels faded. You might feel done with performing. Joy. Having to perform that, okay? Craving the real thing instead. You might feel old heartbreak or blocks around fun and self-expression are coming up to be cleared. So this can bring new romance, shifts in existing romantic dynamics as well. Major developments with your children or creative project. So your creative babies, if you will, an actual child or a project. A rediscovery of what truly lights you up. So that's the eclipse energy. Now let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune at 0 Aries. This is in your 7th house, Libra. This is your relationships, your partnerships, your contracts, marriages and all that jazz. So it might feel like a serious reevaluation of how you do relationships and how you do boundaries and expectations and long-term plans with your loved one. Might feel like a desire for sacred and meaningful partnerships rather than surface level connection. And it might be a sobering but beautiful call to build real relationships as your new favorite kind of relationship, no longer hiding behind a relationship that is no longer serving. Okay, this conjunction is going to ask you to grow up with your relationships. Define what you're committing to and why. This is going to dissolve fantasy relationships and reveal the truth about who's really with you. Who are you really partnered with? What are they really all about and mirroring for you? This is the start of a long phase where partnerships is a key part of your soul's evolution, okay? So how to navigate this energy, Libra? Follow the creative and romantic nudges that feel alive and real, not just flattering. Get honest about what you need and what you're willing to give in relationships. And commit to relationships that can hold both magic and responsibility. What you got for Libras, Joanna?
So the card that came up is called Earth Star Activation. Anchoring, grounded action, Isis energy. So I'm going to show this with you. the field is a little bit funny with the wording, but I like sense of humor, so I'm totally fine with that. Oh, and by the way, Libra is Libra is one of my signs. So actually, I just realized it's also about me. So if you're a Libra, you are a lot more open to new information and also a lot more open to some sort of ancient wisdom. So I don't know who you are, but you're open to ancient wisdom. This was interesting. What came to me was Syrian frequency. So we never talk about Syrians, Illyrians. We don't have that as part of the conversation, but it was presented to me. So if it resonates with you, if you're into that sort of thing, maybe just kind of, go on and Google search, what is Syrian frequency? Because it's a very high vibrating frequency. And I want to use the term spiritual technology. So if you're okay, got it. So if you're a Libra, you very likely have access to this quote unquote spiritual technology. Sorry, as I'm talking, I'm realizing I'm talking about myself and it's just kind of making sense to me. Doesn't make you any special. It just means your function involves and includes having a certain DNA encoding that allows you to work with certain types of frequency. Okay? I actually work with Syrian. So, but anyway, that's beside the point. Not for me, but for somebody, maybe. You're also ready for more abundance on all levels. And yes, thank you very much. Some, especially when you talked about relationships, for some of you, the whole idea of safety and security might come up with regards to relationships. So if old wounds or old stories around relationships come up that are rooted in safety and security, again, it's coming up in order for you to be released, for it to be released. Focus on healing rather than complaining.
The snort, though.
Focus on healing rather than complaining. No, not healing others, healing yourself. And I actually tuned in yesterday and I received kind of like a little wisdom that came through because I said, what's the point of healing, universe? And what came through was, well, healing is really return home to oneself. When you return home to yourself, you are whole. You're no longer missing something. When you feel whole, your entire nervous system relaxes because you're not in scarcity anymore. And if you're not, chills, and if you're not in scarcity, this is the vibration that you will vibe out into the field, and the field has no other option but to match you with corresponding frequency. So it makes sense to me. It makes logical sense to me. And so if you're are focused on complaining, just shift your focus on healing rather than complaining. The last message is shit or get off the pot.
If you're a Libra and you're sitting around complaining about your husband, you better stop that, girl.
Yeah. Either do something about it, try to figure it out, try to make it better. Because complaining, and doesn't mean that we have lots of things to complain about, but when we're constantly stuck on the idea of complaining, we are actually feeding the victim state because we are telling ourselves that we have no power, right? And yes, some people are in a situation where, their hands are tied, but most people who listen to this, no, it's a psychological holding, right? So if you're complaining about something that's not working or not the way you like it, either accept it and stop complaining or do something about it. And that can feel like a little bit of a, punch message. But what the field is basically trying to say is you have power in this. Acknowledge that you have power. Stop denying your power in this situation. Right? That doesn't mean that
if the relationship thing is coming up for you, it's coming up for you to as a gift. Now you got to deal with this. Deal with it. Do it. Your life will totally change if you actually deal with.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I have for Libra. That's pretty cool.
Okay, Scorpio. Okay, February rearranges your home, family, and the way you work and serve. So the eclipses, let's talk about it. We've got that new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius. This is happening in your 4th house. Eclipse energy. This is activating, house, home, property, family wounds, lineage, past stories about all that stuff. So you may feel a deep urge to change your living situation or the emotional atmosphere of your home. You may feel old family stories or ancestral patterns are rising up for clearing. You may feel a sense that a foundation of your life is shifting. So this can bring moves, renovations, changes in who lives with you, or changes in your family. There could be breakthroughs or confrontations in family relationships. This could be a turning point in how you mother yourself, mother your children, and create safety. Or with your own mother. Let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune 0-degree Aries. This is happening in your 6th house. Okay, this is about work, health, service to humanity, your daily habits, your daily routines. It also does rule pets, I must say. You're being asked to build a new lifestyle here. So it might feel like pressure to organize your life so that your body and your spirit can actually handle your mission, aka nervous system reset, and work on it. And also get in shape, right? Like maybe you need to get your body in shape. Awareness of burnout, overwork, or lack of structure in how you serve that might come up. Might also feel like a calling to align your daily work with something a bit more meaningful to you. This conjunction, it's going to ask you to put real foundations under your service, whatever your service to humanity is. Okay, this is going to dissolve jobs, roles, or routines that no longer fit your soul anymore. And this conjunction is also going to indicate a long phase of refining your craft and caring for your body. So how to navigate all this energy, Scorpio? Okay, let your living situation or your family role change if that is what's happening. Let it happen. Bring spiritual intention into your daily work, but also create real schedules and boundaries and systems to make it work. Take your health and your nervous system seriously. Your power depends on it. Joanna?
This is actually quite incredible. Again, the same card showed up. So we're really seeing the karmic cords cutting. Yeah, karmic clearing. So if you're a Scorpio, you're going to be doing some pretty big clearing, energetic clearing, rewriting your story, live your truth. So if you're listening to all the other signs, your sun sign, your moon sign, and you happen to be listening and most of them come with the same message, that's like ding, 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 ding. That's a huge message for you. First message, talk less, be more. We talked about that a moment ago. I don't want to explain it. If you're someone who talks a lot, but you don't walk your talk, well, you might want to rethink that idea. Just say, okay? Now, this is an interesting piece. I'm trying to figure out what it means to me, but I'm not supposed to figure this out. The question to you is this. If you're a Scorpio, are you an overachiever or are you an underachiever? Both are driven by fear. If you're overachiever and you're overcompensating, what are you compensating for? Because it's fear-based. If you're underachiever and you feel that you're constantly an underachiever, why? You're likely holding yourself back. So those two things are presented at the same time. Are you overachiever or underachiever? This is not a blame or judgment. It's just ask yourself, what's driving this for me? Because there is some space somewhere in the middle where you don't have to exert so much energy. And you can be a lot more aligned with flow of things to you rather than forcing or holding back. So it's a different space of existence. But for some of you, it's like you want to understand the pattern, why you overachieve or why you underachieve. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I also saw you changing paths. Again, when you're doing any kind of karmic clearing, that's naturally going to happen, you know? So because that's the case, you are likely to experience some level of resistance, okay? Ego doesn't like change. Well, that's just the way it is. It's okay. We can't escape change. Change is a constant. Change is a constant. So if you experience some resistance because you're needing to let something go, or something is being, or you're being asked to let go of something, and it's like, oh, what am I going to do without it? Know that there is a replacement waiting for you. You may just not be privy as to what it is yet. And that often can make us feel very uncomfortable because the old is gone, the new hasn't come in yet. So we're in this kind of threshold, not sure where we stand. So if you feel a little bit raw in the month of February, but also in, say, March, just know that it's a byproduct of the cord cutting that you are going through. Okay. Now you may actually be going to somebody who is going to help you, quote unquote, cut cords. That can be the case, or you're doing your own work, or it's just happening somehow on a subconscious level. Okay. Now, I want to thank you. I want to be very clear about this. Nothing is ever happening to you. When I talk about energies, it's not that they're happening to you, is that your soul is in dance with the energies that we are experiencing. So whatever your soul is ready for, you're going to be called to it. Does that make sense? Because sometimes difficult changes happen. It's like, why is this happening to me? I know it's hard sometimes in the moment. It's never happening to you. It's always happening for you. But when it's uncomfortable, it's kind of hard to see that. And oftentimes we only see the reason why when it's in hindsight, right? So likelihood is that there's going to be some changes. You're going to have a shift in trajectory, whether you are the one choosing it or the universe is gently choosing it for you, or sometimes not so gently. Your job is just to be compassionate with yourself and just be as present as you can with yourself, because these things are never easy to go through. And I'm not saying that you're going to have to go through something difficult, but sometimes, actually, oftentimes, the very thing that we want is actually the very thing that scares us the most. So you might be pushed into a trajectory where all of a sudden you are presented with something you've always wanted to do, and then your ego goes, Wee! Because you're not used to it, right? Just because it doesn't mean it's anything bad. So even the best things can have a little bit of discomfort with it. Releasing from old limited structures, we talked about that. Make friends with your inner monster. So we all have our inner monsters. We call them shadows, whatever you want to call them. And when that happens, we literally reorganize how we see ourselves with respect to our fear or our shadow. And by changing how we connect with that part of us, how we relate to it, we effectively, literally reshape our vibrational field. This is the relationship we have with our monsters and our fear. And we talked about this often. Your inner monster, your shadow, has one job and one job only, and it's doing it very well. It's to protect you. When you see it as your friend and not your enemy, you start to shift how you relate to it. And what ends up happening, rather than trying to push it away or trying to get rid of it or trying to kill it, you come into this relationship with more love. You literally begin to love the part of you that you're trying to get rid of. And that literally shifts your entire vibrational field. And also acknowledge your power. So some of you might be in a situation where you're not willing to acknowledge the power you have to be in that situation. Because remember, some things are happening to us, but they're always happening for us. So if you're in a situation and you're not liking, just acknowledge your part in it. Now, I'm not saying that if, God forbid, you're in an abusive relationship and I'm saying, well, you're the one that's great. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that if, God forbid, you're in that relationship, you have to make a different choice for yourself. Ask for help. Acknowledge that maybe it's difficult for you to leave this relationship, but know that you can, even though it may be difficult at first. I don't know why I felt I had to say it. So maybe this message is for someone. Does that make sense on a logical level? Okay.
Sagittarius. For you, Saggy, February is about your voice, your joy, and your creative purpose. Let's first talk about the eclipse. There's going to be a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius in your third house. So this is all about your communication, speaking, writing, talking, learning, siblings, media, transportation. So you may feel a strong urge to speak a new truth, start a new platform, change up your messaging. You may feel old ways of thinking and speaking are shedding like an old skin. You may feel like faded conversations and contracts or local movements are happening in your life. This can bring new communication projects like podcasts, books, courses, social media shifts. This could change things with your siblings, your neighbors, your local environment, your car, your transportation. This could bring realizations that your words literally do change your timeline. Words literally are spells. Let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune at 0 degree Aries. This is going to be in your 5th house. So this is creativity, romance, children, heart-centered, joy, fun. So it might feel like an inner push to take your joy and creativity seriously now. So nothing extra, but, to the core of your path that is aligned with you. So a longing to make something real, like a book, a show, maybe a baby. Maybe you want to have a baby finally. Maybe you want to have a body of work now. You want to make it real. You want to have that creative project, that masterpiece. You want to make it real. Might feel like a call to mature in how you show up in love and for your creativity and your gifts. This conjunction is going to ask you to commit to a passion project or a creative identity with structure and with discipline. This is going to dissolve casual and half-hearted approaches to art and joy and romance. This is going to start a long era where your creativity becomes a part of your life. How to navigate all this energy, Saggy? Honor the urge to change how you speak and what you speak about. Choose one creative or romantic storyline to truly invest your heart in. And treat your talents like they're real because they are, and the world needs them. What do you feel for the Saggies, Joanna?
Well, this is interesting because the first vision I had was of a grand opening of something. And the metaphor that was shown to me is, imagine somebody built a huge building and there's a day of opening and there is people standing and there's a huge bowl and somebody's cutting the scissors with the scissors. That's how it was shown to me. And when I tuned into it, what came through, it's whatever that means to you, it's something you worked on, and for some of you, for lifetimes. So, thank you. You are a proud owner of a brand new identity. I don't know what that means, but it sounds pretty serious in a big way. Whatever it is that you are expressing has a lot of power behind it in the form of other beings. Okay, so you might actually be consciously working with other beings, and these beings represent a higher vibrational collective. So I don't know who you are. I just realized the part of my thing is a Sag, and I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. So the card here is called Arcturian Light Codes, Evolutionary Downloads, Recalling Power, Future Thinking. So you're a visionary. You're a visionary. You are here to bring new awareness into this world in your own unique way. And whatever the unique way is, it's presented like an opening of something new. There's obviously something that you're working on, have been working on for a while, and it's now ready to be, quote unquote, seen by the world. So this can come in little packages, big packages. Everyone is different. But it feels substantial to me. It feels substantial to me. So thank you. And it has to do with, it's to do with the collective consciousness and with the idea of programming. So you are likely someone who understands how programming works, maybe has a lot of psychological understanding with regards to programming. I know I do because that's my background. But there's something about that. And you actually might be working with an Arcturian collective. That might actually be the case for you. Okay. If you believe in that sort of thing. And Arcturians are apparently very highly coherent, energetic beings. They have a very, they're all about structure, energetic structure. So that's why I have Sag. I always say, I don't know most of the time what this stuff means to me, but I'm just saying whatever it's coming through, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's what makes me good. Capricorn, for you, February is a money, safety, and emotional foundation reset. Let's talk about the eclipse first. It's a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius in your second house. So this is going to light up your second house of money, self-worth, and resources. So you may feel tension between material security and soul integrity. You might feel a strong need to change how you earn, spend, or value yourself. You may feel old stories about not enoughness surfacing to be released. This can bring new income streams, pricing changes, or shifts in work after your finances have been felt and dealt with. Sudden expenses or windfalls that reveal your deeper beliefs about your worth. A pivotal moment in claiming your value. Now let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 Aries. This is going to be in your fourth house. This is house, home, property, real estate, inner foundation. It's also family lineage, family wounds, family mother wounds. So it might feel like a pull to create a new sense of home, perhaps literally and emotionally. Might feel like responsibility towards your family, roots, or healing the past. And that is becoming more and more pronounced. Might feel like a dissolving of an old security structure that wasn't safe anyways. It was just a habit. This conjunction will ask you to build a true foundation, a home, an inner base that's going to support who you are now. Going to dissolve illusions around family and roles and what you must be for others. And it's also going to initiate a long phase of emotional reconstructing and generational healing. So how do you navigate all this energy, Capricorn? So let money be a mirror for you, not a verdict. Use financial shifts to upgrade your sense of worth. Invest time and energy into making your home and your inner world stable and sacred. Be willing to step out of old family patterns in order to build something new. What do you feel for the Cappies, Joanna?
You didn't see my face because you were reading. Look what came up again.
Karmic
That's
ties
again. That's what, fourth time now? That's crazy.
Times,
that's
yeah.
like you want 33% of the whole thing is
like Roger.
Yeah.
That's what's coming up for February.
Karmic clearing, energetic clearing, rewriting your story, live your truth. So a couple messages came through, not too long. Some of you might be tempted to go back to something. The question is it worth it? Okay. So if you're questioning, should I go back? Should I move forward? Should I stay? Should I go? We call them first reasons why you chose not to be in that space in the first place. And then ask yourself, has that changed? Has the situation changed? Has the person changed? Has the dynamic changed? If it hasn't, then you are likely stepping into something that's old that you have outgrown. Now, if you have no other option right now, and for example, you have to take a job because you need to make money, right? So you have to go back to something that's familiar. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't, but it does mean that you need to make that choice from an empowered state. Making that choice from an empowered state. And if you choose to go back to something that isn't really aligned, but you right now feel that's the best choice you have, then make that choice, but make it from an empowered state. That's really, really important. Because the last thing you want to do is to go back to something you don't want anyway, and then get sucked into that energy and get stuck again. Okay? So the universe is not saying, don't do this, don't do that. The universe is saying, make sure you know the reasons why you do what you do and make those choices from a conscious and empowered state. Okay? And I always say, choices doesn't automatically imply that they're all wonderful choices. Sometimes we have shitty choices we still have to choose, right? But if we're choosing from a space of empowerment versus disempowerment, well, then we are making more empowered choices, right? Also, this was interesting. Whoever you are, you now have some proof so that others can believe you. So this seems like a very specific message. So maybe you've been trying to prove something to somebody, or maybe you're speaking truth, but somebody's saying, no, I need proof. It's like, now I have proof. So that's a very specific message. If this makes sense to you, let us know, because it's very specific. And yeah, again, it's a month of karmic clearing. What can I say? It's like we're all being asked to let things go. So that's for you, Capricorn.
We've never seen that before.
No, we have not. No, we have not.
Month. We knew it. We knew it was going to be big.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Okay, Aquarius. February is going to complete identity. It's going to be a complete identity recalibration, to use Joanna's R word. You are the portal. Let's talk about the eclipse. So it's a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, in your sign. So this is your first house, if you're an Aquarius rising. So this is all about yourself, your body, your direction, how you show up. How you show up in this beautiful world of ours. So you may feel like you're standing on a threshold between old you and future you. You might feel restless, electric, maybe a bit unhinged, like you don't quite fit into your old life anymore. You might feel pulled to dramatically shift your image, your role, your path. This can bring changes in how you look, how you present yourself, and how you identify. This can bring turning points in your life that can feel very faded. This can bring a sense of before February 2026 and after February 2026. You're going to remember this time, Aquarius. Let's talk about that Saturn-Neptune at 0 Aries. This is going to be in your third house. It's starting in February and it's going to be going on. So third house is about your communication, speaking, writing, talking. It's also your mindset, how you think. It's also about your siblings and your transportation and your neighbors in your neighborhood. So it might feel like a push to take your voice seriously. What are you saying? What are you teaching? What are you sharing? It might feel like a deeper responsibility around your words. They carry more weight with you now. Might feel like old mental stories are dissolving, especially those that have kept you small and kept you silent. This conjunction is going to ask you to build structure around your communication, your writing, your teaching, your podcasting, your speaking, and also around your neighbors in your neighborhood and your siblings and your people, those that are close to you. This is going to dissolve scattered thinking and replace it with intentional messaging. This is going to start a long phase where your voice is one of your primary tools of creation. You're going to step in. You're going to know that your words are spells. How to navigate this huge, huge energy, Aquarius? Allow yourself to be reinvented. Don't cling to that old identity that's keeping you small. Start or strengthen a communication practice with write regularly, speak regularly, teach regularly. Be mindful because your words are spells now. Use them with care and with purpose. What are you picking up for the Aquarius?
Let me just show you the card first. It's called Inner Earth, Base Chakra, Strength and Security, Laying Foundations. So that's just a visual. But then I got a whole bunch of other things. It seems to be a very cleansing month for you, Aquarius. Cleansing in terms of emotional cleansing. So some or a lot of emotions may come up for you in the month of February. Actually, I'm getting month of February, but also picking up May, something around May. So maybe it's between whenever you listen to it and May, but it's a cleansing energy. You are likely an empath. I think most people who listen to it would probably be empaths, I'm guessing, but you are most definitely an empath, which means that you are very susceptible to picking up other people's energy. Okay. And because of the cleansing effect the month of February has on you, your own frequency, your own energetic field will begin to feel clearer, and therefore it'll be easier for you to discern what energy is yours and what isn't. And you're going to consciously decide to not take on other people's stuff. Not because you're not a loving person, but predominantly because if you take their stuff on you, then you're making their stuff your stuff, right? Now, I'm not talking about if you're a helper, if you're helping somebody, you don't help them. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying, and I'm going to say this as a metaphor, you cannot save a person who doesn't want to save themselves, right? So if you're taking on somebody else's stuff, you're not allowing them to prove to themselves what they're capable of. But you're also, in a way, are creating a bit of dependence. So they depend on you. And that dependence can oftentimes become too much. So I don't know how that makes sense to you, but that's the message that was coming. Also, a lot more open heart space, even though we talked about base chakra, but then it made sense to me because in order for you to open your heart, you have to feel safe. So safety and security is a prerequisite for opening the heart, right? But it's about allowing yourself to be more visible and therefore also more vulnerable. So there's a sense of you opening up and allowing yourself to be seen, whatever that may be, whether it's new relationship, maybe it's in the way you show up, maybe it's in the way you show up for yourself first and foremost and into the world. It's going to need different things for different people. But with that comes a little bit of vulnerability at first, right? Again, the idea here is that when you allow yourself to show up and your nervous system begins to learn, oh, it's safe for me to be myself, your entire nervous system relaxes and you become much more comfortable becoming more and more of yourself because you're proving to yourself that, hey, actually, being myself is not so bad. It's actually quite empowering. Last but not least, spend more time in nature if you can, okay? Especially if you're an empath. Well, anybody, but especially if you're an empath, spend more time in nature. Yeah, so that's what I have for Aquarius.
Last but certainly never least, Pisces. Okay. This is the end of a karmic era. Here's that word again. And the beginning of a real world worth era. Let's first talk about the eclipse. It's a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius in your 12th. Oh, okay. So this is all about endings, karma, the unconscious mind, all that stuff we can't see, but, the deep, deep inner work. So you may feel tired, emotional, acutely aware of what you're ready to leave behind, let go, let Goddess, and forgive. You may feel old cycles, relationships, and inner patterns are reaching their climax now. Then you may feel a strong desire to retreat, to rest, and to process. So this can bring the closing of long-standing behind-the-scenes situations come to an end, right? This is about releasing people, jobs, identities that have kept you hidden or feeling unseen, unheard, right? This is about powerful dreams and intuitive downloads and psychic clarity about who you really are now. And let's also talk about that Saturn-Neptune 0-degree Aries. This is going to be in your second house. This is money, self-worth, the money that you earn, and how you feel about yourself. So it might feel like a sobering but hopeful call to own your value in concrete ways. And it might feel like the end of wishful thinking around money and the beginning of a grown-up new relationship with money. And it might feel like a merging of your spiritual gifts with a stable, grounded sense of worth. This conjunction is going to ask you to put actual structures around how you earn and how you manage your money. This is going to dissolve illusions around, being spiritual means being broke, or that you don't deserve material support for your spiritual work. This is going to initiate a long phase of building tangible security that reflects your true value in your soul. So how to navigate this energy, Pisces? Honor the endings. Say goodbye. Forgive and let go. Give yourself permission to grieve and then release the old chapter. Take one clear, practical step toward financial stability and evaluate how you feel about yourself. Treat your gifts as valuable and build containers, so offers or pricing or boundaries that truly reflect you and your worth. What do you think about the Pisces, Joanna?
So the message is called Orion Activation, Supernova, Recreation, Renewal, Rebirth by Light. So again, similar energy. These are all the thresholds that we're going through. So if you're Pisces, and I think mine is North Node actually is in Pisces, yes. Right? So the message that came through was, first and foremost, and we humans do it almost all the time, don't all of a sudden assume the worst as your first thought. Assume the best. And we do that because we try to protect ourselves. We almost always go to fear first. It's not funny. We're just wired that way. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's preservation and fear of, death, basically. But if there is something coming up for you and you're not quite sure how it's going to turn out, assume the best first and then see what happens. Because I feel like you almost need to expect the best for yourself. And yes, other things may happen, but everything is based on expectations. What we expect is basically what we gear towards, right? So, and those expectations are often unconscious. But the very clear message is, don't all of a sudden assume the worst as your first thought. Assume the best. Or at least if you have something and you assume the worst, then just kind of go, okay, what's the best that could happen? And just know that it could be either or, but at least you're giving yourself permission to experience the best outcome. Okay, so there's obviously an outcome here that's wanting to show itself, coming out of hiding. Okay, that's beautiful. Being more in the flow, and this is also a beginning, a threshold of a beginning of a lot more sustainability. Sustainability is good, right? Stability, sustainability. We like to hear that. Right now, your mind and your brain is processing a lot. I can tell for me that's true, especially during sleep time. Well, I don't sleep lately, but there's so much going on. So this actually confirmed what I was going through. So if you find like your mind is really busy, like it's doing a lot of processing, it's because it's a preparatory step for you stepping out more into the open. More into the open. So if you look at this image, you're not quite on the threshold. You're getting there, but there's a whole bunch of things happening here. This is how I perceive it. That's like closed space, and beyond that is an open space. You're in that space right now, and there's a lot happening in your mind because you're working through a lot of things, right? But that is necessary in order for you to move through this threshold right here, which is a lot more open and just very vast. There's a lot more flow. So flow of anything, It's Is there anything else? There are no coincidences in life, only opportunities. Okay, I'll take that. So if you experience a lot of coincidences, just know they're opportunities. And I think that's all I have for Pisces. Yeah.
Well, know your worth, Pisces.
Mm-hmm. Everybody know your worth. Yes. Yeah.
Look,
It's a pledge. We've been it.
there's a lot of similarities about karmic ties this month. So
Good.
I'm going to keep that in mind as I roll into this unbelievable month of February.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's so much energy here that we're going to actually dedicate a podcast to it. So,
Beautiful.
you know, this is part one. We went through the all signs forecast here, but we are going to talk about these energies because it is no joke. Apparently, karma's a big one. Restlessness, feeling busy, kept coming up for all the signs. Busy mind, sleeping properly. I'd like to talk about more of those energetics. Are you up for it, Joanna? Maybe in the next podcast?
You betcha. You betcha. Absolutely. All right. I think that's all we have for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Let us know in the comments how this resonates with you, or it doesn't. I always say if it doesn't resonate with you right away, it almost shouldn't, because, you know, I'm perceiving things from probable future, and that may not be visible to you, you know, right in the moment when you listen to it. But generally speaking, even when I listen to things that I receive at the time of me receiving them, they're like, what the hell is that? And then I'll look at it a few months later, it's like, what? Really? This came out of me? I surprise myself every single time. So,
fun. Yeah. And for the
Yeah.
listeners and the watchers, Joanna and I often do text each other like after we record this, you know, weeks after. And it's like, oh my gosh, I re-listened to it. And oh my gosh, it's happening to me now.
Yeah. Yeah. We're still human. So let us know how you're feeling, how you're managing these energies. And as always, we welcome your comments. And we look forward to seeing you in the next podcast. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye.